if you think about PowerHouse being here for 25 years, and you go back to probably the fourth year of existence, that's where I came on the scene here at the PowerHouse. And really at that moment, I was needing and looking for a group, for some people that I could actually connect with, and trying to figure out life. Really had no idea how to be in a family, had no idea how to do anything but party and hang out. And so trying to navigate that as a 17-year-old, with a new group of people, because I left the scene of the party scene, was hard at first. And so PowerHouse came up, and I thought, man, I'll go check that out and see kind of what it's about. And I found the group. I found a group that I could be myself, hang out with, and yet not have to have fun, but yet not have to be involved in the things that a lot of teenagers are trying to find, right? Which is partying, alcohol, all the above, right? So being able to find that group was huge for me at 17. Little did I know that the director at the time saw something in me that I didn't see in myself even, and he started to kind of pour into me life lessons. And I started to watch how he interacted with his family, how he interacted with his church, how he interacted with the kids, and I said, man, I want to be like that. He took me in and just said, hey, put his arm around me basically and said, hey, I'll teach you. And so without him and without the PowerHouse, I wouldn't know how to be a father. I wouldn't know how to be a husband. I wouldn't know how to be a leader. And I didn't think then that it was going to come full circle to 5 years ago, me being in that same spot that that gentleman was at the time as a director, and putting my arm around kids and saying, hey, I can walk with you, I can mentor you. And so it's been an interesting journey for me to having my life here at the PowerHouse. And I mean, if you look back to getting my first ministry job was at the PowerHouse, getting engaged on the dining room floor of the PowerHouse, and then getting married on the property of the PowerHouse, to now coming back and running the PowerHouse for the last 5 years. It's been an incredible journey. It really has. To impact a person, like when I see myself in some of these kids, and I see kind of how I grew up and the chaos or the uncertainty of home life, to see the fact that I might have a chance to do the exact same thing that someone did for me is an incredible opportunity for me. It's an incredible way to give back, and it's an incredible way to actually take what I learned watching him and then pour that into others. And so the chance to see a kid who maybe is going on the wrong path, but decides to turn from that and to actually impact their community, their place, their people. I mean, we've had kids from here go on to work at Google that are traveling the world, to locally become a pharmacist, become engineers. And we've watched kids whose families have kind of had to have government assistance to them changing that path and that place in their family to actually going and working and providing and getting married and having. It's an incredible feeling to watch when a kid seemingly is on the wrong path make that change. And the fact that the PowerHouse is able to play a part in that is an incredible thing to be a part of. Over the past 25 years, if you just take this year right now, we have 117 kids signed up for the after school program. So if you times that out over 25 years as an average, that's thousands of kids that have came through these doors. So when you look at it as multiple thousands of kids in the past 25 years that have stepped foot through this same old house, through these doors, it's an incredible number. And then when you go to Walmart and they run up to you and they talk to you and they talk about the trips that you've been on or the things they remember, and then you start to find out about their family, and they have kids now, and now I'm getting old enough to where the PowerHouse kids, when I first started, their kids are now coming into the PowerHouse now. Yes, I'm getting that old, I guess, but it's overwhelming when you think about it, and to see a kid that has sat right here at my desk looking at me saying, telling me the story of his dad who was a part of a cartel, and went back home when his mom was pregnant with him, went back home to Mexico to take care of getting out of the cartel. And as you know, you don't get out of the cartel. So on his way back to cross the border, he got murdered because he was trying to leave. And that kid looking at me, asking me for me to be his father. Could you be my dad? And having to tell him I can't, but what I can do is teach you things that a dad would teach you. To now seeing him working full time, looking at preparing on getting married to his girlfriend, looking at places to rent and to buy. It's an incredible thing to walk alongside youth, and because if we don't train and pour into youth, we have no generations left. And across our country, we have a large number of youth that don't have fathers, that don't have family, that are trying to encourage them and to be by their side, and they're kind of left to figure it out on their own. To know that the PowerHouse can be there to help with that, to come alongside and to show them how to work, to show them how to be a citizen and wherever they're at, to show them how to be kind, to dream big. It's an interesting thing when you sit across from a kid and you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they have no idea. Like literally, I've never thought about it, because they didn't have parents that are encouraging them to dream big and to go and be something and to go and create things in their lives. So it's fun to watch when you see a kid get it and they click and they start to dream and they start to work and they start to understand how they can actually help inside of this world. 25 years we've been inside of this old 3-story house that has been a staple for the PowerHouse. It's old, but it's done really well for us. And you can imagine 65, 70 kids trying to cram into a house that's kind of, it's built like it would have back then, right? And pre-1900s, where they have all the different rooms and you have nooks and crannies and you have all these things. And so when I first came back 5 years ago, knowing what I knew because I'd worked here previously, I said, when they hired me, I said, hey, not right now, but just get ready. We need a new facility. We need a building. And so here we are 5 years later with a building under construction. And this building is going to open. It's wide open with a big gym, with a workout area, with a stage area, with a lounge area, because you got to keep that place where kids can kind of feel like it's a home, right, where they can sit and hang out and talk. A cafeteria that sets 80 instead of, again, like I mentioned, we've got 60 kids, depending on the day. And if they come in and they sit and they all get a meal, where are they going to sit? But we've got a dining room table that sits 8 right now. So they're on the floor, they're on the stairs, they're everywhere. And to have a spot where everybody can come and we can have a meal as a family together, a PowerHouse family, is going to be, that's one of the most exciting things to me. Yes, we got a gym, but the exciting part is to sit down as a family and to create that atmosphere that most of them do not have. They're not sitting down at a kitchen table to have food with their family. They're just not, if they even have food presented at all. So to create that here is going to be an incredible thing. And so it's a big deal that the community has rallied around the PowerHouse to get this building done, because they want to invest in our next generation and for generations to come. So I think this sets a staple in the PowerHouse to say we're not just here for 25 years, we're here for another 25, 50 years as a place to serve teens in our community. We have a vision for where we want to see the PowerHouse to go, Lord willing. I think of a quote from Hudson Taylor, who said, dream so big that if God doesn't intervene, it will fail. And when I read that quote, I immediately changed the vision of the PowerHouse. And that vision of the PowerHouse now is to actually have a global presence, to actually have PowerHouses throughout the world. Right now we have one PowerHouse here, right here in Davis County in Washington, Indiana. So we're looking at growing in other counties that are surrounding us. But I believe before I pass away from this earth, there will be a powerhouse in another country. That's how important I think our mission is. That's how important I think youth are for not just our country, not just our state, but for the world, to actually be able to share the gospel and to have them grow into that relationship with the Lord, and to see what incredible things God will do with youth as they grow. The powerhouse is here to be a part of that, and so it's exciting. It's scary, but it's exciting at the same time, because I really believe that's how important, and this is what God has for the powerhouse. The mission of the powerhouse is to share the gospel with youth. That's the mission of the powerhouse, and we're going to do that any way we can, whether it's through social media, whether it's through our after-school program, whether it's through going into schools and getting to talk with them. Whatever it is, however we present ourselves, it is to share the gospel with youth. A lot of people know Powerhouse exists, but they don't necessarily know what we do. One of the biggest programs that we had, and this was our first program that we ever started 25 years ago, is our after-school program. Situated a block and a half from Washington High School, so kids walk after school. They come, we feed them. If they need clothes, we have clothes even, and we have a deal with St. Vincent de Paul where they can go get clothes. Also, it's a thrift store. We want to make sure we're going to take care of their immediate needs, but we also want to share the gospel with them, because that's an eternal thing. So they come here, they hang out, and we try to train and teach our volunteers and our staff to look for those times to share those conversations with them about the gospel. The other things that we do that a lot of people aren't aware of is we get to go into junior high during lunch, and we get to get like 5 to 10 minutes to share a gospel-centered message to the 7th and 8th grade. That on average is 100 kids that show up to that, and so that's been kind of a staple program as well, and so we're excited for that. Also, we get to feed and share about a 30-minute message with the football team during the football season. We call that fueling the hatchet football is what we call it. So we come in, we don't just feed them, and that's what the coach wants to talk about is, hey, it's not just about the food, but it's about feeding them spiritually also. So we get to do those during the football season every year. So we have a bike shop here that has been, I don't know how many bikes we've given out this year, but every time we get bikes in, it gets repaired and gets ready for the teens, and teens are always needing transportation, always. And so having them getting a bike is just freeing for them to get around town. And so not only do we have some volunteers that actually do that, but then they'll bring in some kids to kind of help work on it, teach them a few things about maintenance and stuff. We have a VIT program where we teach kids. That's volunteer and training. They have to fill out an application. They have to dress for the interview, because they get a full job interview. They have to learn how to find references, and they learn how to, am I a felon? Well, what is a felon? I had some of them say, I don't even know what a felon means. And so the application is a legit application that they're going to see whenever they go get a job, right? So we have that program as well. Try to give them some life skills that they can actually use as they get older. And so the Powerhouse isn't just the after school, that's just our biggest program. Now with this new facility that we're going to have, we plan on starting a Friday night program that we've already tested out before, because yes, between 3 and 6 is a really big at-risk time for kids. So we already fill that gap, but also nights, weekend nights, kids don't have anything to do. And so to have a Friday night program where kids can actually come in, hang out, have a place to get off the streets, but a safe place to come and be, that's going to be huge for our new facility to have that. We're also planning on taking that facility and utilizing it to have a counseling center for youth and their family. And so right now we have 2, including myself, staff members that are getting biblically counseled certified, so that way we can help even more with youth, their families, and trying to make sure that there's a lot of anxiety and mental health that's going on with youth through social media, through everything. And so we want to be a resource and an advocate for those teens to actually know how to navigate through life. And then not only them, but their families as well. So there's a lot of things that are coming down the road just because we're able to have that facility and that space to do things. The PowerHouse isn't a church. We're not, I don't want us to be known as a church, to be seen as a church, because the church is the church, right? And so the PowerHouse, though, would be what you consider a parachurch ministry, where we team up with churches support us, but we are the missionaries in a mission field right here in our hometown, right here in the United States. It is, as some would say, boots on the ground, right? We are hands-on, doing ministry every single day. And so we want to be able to funnel kids to a church home, to a church family, but we want to be able to connect and to be the hands and feet going out into this world. And that's why I believe the vision has to be so large, is because we do have a lost and dying world. And so, and youth who are just floundering and not knowing where to go. I mean, when I've got kids setting in for a Bible study that look at their Bibles and they can't tell you that the big number is the chapter and the little number is a verse, and we live in rural southern Indiana that has 80 some churches in the county, yet these kids cannot, they've never picked up a Bible before, ever, then there's a huge need for hands and feet to get outside of the four walls of a building and to actually go and do what the Great Commission says to do. And so that's what we're doing and that's what we plan on doing as we continue to grow. I get asked all the time, how can we help, right? People just want tangible ways to help. Of course, one of the best ways to help is to pray. We have staff and volunteers that hear story upon story upon story, and it's heartbreaking stories. I mean, it literally gut-wrenching things. So praying not only for the kids, because we need that in their families, but also praying for our volunteers and staff. That honestly is a huge way to help. Other ways that we need help is it's becoming harder to find volunteers because people have to work. Prices of things keep going up. It's tough. And so to be able to afford a larger staff to actually help impact the youth is a big deal for us. So not only do we need funds for keeping our lights on, we need funds for food to feed kids, we need funds for help. And so donating is a huge way for us to continue on. The next one is we need food. Supporting us by making a meal, bringing it in, picking one day a month or one day every other month or something like that is a huge help for us. One, because the kids don't want to eat my cooking, I can promise you that. They would rather have it from someone who knows what the heck they're doing. And so if we could have that, we have a meal train app that we use, and it's where you sign up. If we could have that full of people who are saying, hey, we'll bring in a meal, that takes off such a burden for us to try to grocery shop and find the meal and do a huge burden. All we're asking is once a month, once every other month, get with your small group, get with ladies, get whatever it is, do it on your own and just bring it in. That's a big help for us. And then lastly is, and I know it's hard, but finding people who are wanting to share the gospel, who are wanting to go out and just point these kids to the Lord, to build that relationship with them so they trust, know, care, they know that you care. We need more volunteers. There's no doubt about it. And so to have people sign up, and again, all I'm asking is a consistency of maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once a week, but whatever it is, just picking a time and saying, hey, I'll come in and I'll be there. When we start our Friday night program, when this happens, we're really going to need a lot of help, because the numbers have shown that on a Friday night, we can easily get up to 135, 140 kids a night. And I'm not just saying that, I know that to be a fact. And so you can imagine having that many kids on a Friday night. We need a lot of adults who care, and even at college age kids who have the time. You just want to be a part of something like this, and want to be a part of seeing a teenager grow and flourish in the Lord. Then we need your help. You can find that very easily on how to get involved on our website at washingtonpowerhouse.org.